So everybody on the phone, we'll start in just a few minutes. It's just turned 1 o'clock, and I know there's a few people just waiting to join, so just give us a couple of minutes. Hello, everybody, and welcome to today's Academic Initiative webinar. Thank you all for joining us. My name is Jennifer Glover, and I'm a member of the Academic Initiative team working on cloud. First, some logistics for you. I need to tell you that this conference is being recorded, and if you object, you may disconnect now. For those on the phone who may not have been able to access the webinar, the link is on the Academic Initiative Knowledge Exchange. Just search for the blog entry entitled Big Insights MapReduce Service on BlueMix. You should be able to find the link in that blog entry. We'd love your feedback about this call, or if there's other topics you'd like to hear more about, please feel free to send me an email. My email address is in the presentation, but it's jglover@ca.ibm.com. Our agenda today will be an overview presentation about BlueMix, followed by a live demo on Big Insights MapReduce services on BlueMix. Our speaker today is Sandhya Kapoor. Sandhya is a senior software engineer with extensive experience with IBM WebSphere development, middleware software, and business process manager. Currently, Sandhya is working on BlueMix, and we're very pleased to have her here today. Over to you, Sandhya.
Thank you, Jennifer. So please feel free to interrupt me at any point. You have to just press *6 to ask a question, or any way you would like the discussion to proceed. I can adjust accordingly. This is an interactive session with all of you to showcase our platform as a service offering called BlueMix. So you may all be aware of the trends in software at this point in time. We are all shifting towards using mobile services and deploying our applications on the cloud. Our applications are being written by the minute, so to speak. New apps are just I would say composed out of many applications that are out there, and we just have to bind them together to come up with something that works well for our new business or existing businesses. So the keyword today is composable business, and we are innovating restlessly today, as you can see all around you. So we do see a trend clearly out in the market where more and more applications are going to be available on the cloud, and majority of new apps as well as middleware software is now built ready to be deployed on the cloud. So keeping that in mind, the buzzword today, along with composable business, is enabling API, and we call it API economy. So you would see that the software that you use today, or that our students in the faculty and as well as faculty are going to be focusing, that each of this monolithic piece of software is no longer the way of coding. It is rather exposing that software as APIs so that it can be called upon and leveraged by others in the marketplace and can be readily built upon. So that's what you see today in terms of API economy. Also, you see that we are enabling our infrastructure as a service so that the different pieces of software can be readily deployed without getting into all the pain and effort involved in hosting yourself. And on top of that, we are enabling that the main crutches, so to speak, for different software pieces you may have can be hosted readily. So we are offering platform as a service, and that's where BlueMix fits in. It is truly a platform as a service as compared to other competitive offerings you may have worked on or are hearing about. It is truly a PaaS in the sense that the software as services are available to you to be bound to the applications you develop, and we call these services. And we are offering you runtimes to rapidly develop your applications. So any runtime that you are familiar with, you can pull that from BlueMix and host it in an IDE on the cloud, which we call DevOps. So I will introduce you to all the different services and the DevOps environment as we proceed. So we see today a mix and match of software and applications out there. Academia, big enterprises, they just cannot throw away the software they have been working with, but they can easily extend that software to work with those services and applications that are existing on the cloud. So that's the balancing act that we all have to do today. So the cloud is evolving. We first started years ago with just virtualizing the platforms, that is the infrastructure. Then we moved on to enabling our middleware software to work on the cloud. And now we are enabling our applications to rapidly be deployed on the cloud and offering these applications as software. So we have IaaS, infrastructure as a service, we have PaaS, platform as a service, and then we have SaaS, software as a service. And we are moving towards a mode where all the new startups, new enterprises, as well as new software, they would be native to the cloud. So that's our paradigm today. So the power shift is clearly there, where we want to leverage all that is available in our ecosystem and be able to build new applications and put them out in the market. Today, composing an application has become very quick and a iterative process. So this chart shows you with an example. Let's say I want to create a secure application that simply analyzes the sentiment about certain topics in the social media. So I will just pick a runtime. Let's say I am very good at writing Python applications, so I'll pick Python runtime. I will add database as a service to it. All I have to do is services available to me on the cloud in BlueMix. I will just bind that service. Next, I will go to a social media like Twitter and call upon the API in Twitter and get the analysis done via that API. Next, I want to run some analytics, so I would add another service from BlueMix. That is MapReduce to run the analytics software, and then I can secure the service by adding SSO service, which is again available in BlueMix. And lastly, I can add monitoring, which is yet another service in BlueMix. So you could see I added 4 services quickly, which in matter of seconds, they are bound to the application and they are instantiated and we are up and running. So this is the this is the norm today, and it is really exciting. So with this, I would like to introduce to you what IBM is offering as our PaaS. BlueMix is letting you run applications in any language that you are comfortable with. It is based on an open standards PaaS, which is called Cloud Foundry. So IBM was very keen that we do not tie ourselves to proprietary software. So Cloud Foundry was our choice, and we are actively contributing to Cloud Foundry along with our other ecosystem partners. It is designed for mobile application development. It provides you DevOps, which is an IDE on the cloud, and it also provides you a cloud integration service that allows you to tie in any application that you deploy on the cloud to a backend software that you may have running on-premise. We are offering you security services, Internet of Things, which lets you dive into a lot of sensor data and operate devices. We are offering you Watson Analytics through BlueMix, several database options through BlueMix, as you will see in the catalog, and a lot of services for your web development. So you can compose your applications, you can deploy them on BlueMix, and you can easily scale just with a click that says, I want 3 instances running. You are up and running with 3 instances of your application, and you can add a scaling policy that enables you to give the criteria based on CPU, heap usage, as well as you can change your JVM settings to scale appropriately. So it is very quick and iterative coding appliance that we have placed in your hands. So we do see lots of developers, startups, existing enterprises, and academia joining BlueMix because all of us want to be able to leverage the vast capabilities which are available. I'm going through these charts rather quickly so that I can get to the demo and also answer questions that you may have. At the same time, please press star 6 and ask questions as they come up. We do have lots and lots of services available as part of our catalog on BlueMix. Here you see a long list. I wouldn't read through them, but you will get these charts as well as the instruction document, which I will be using to go over the MapReduce service that brings you Big Insights Enterprise Edition. So there are several scenarios that we can just quickly highlight. If you are developing web applications, then BlueMix is offering you rapid web app development, especially using runtimes like Ruby or PHP, JavaScript, along with Java. We offer you scalability and migration from any other offering where you may already have certain applications deployed. So that is a service which we can easily extend to you. There are several examples, several references we have where a BlueMix is already being leveraged. We are offering you a boilerplate for developing mobile applications, then giving you numerous examples where APIs are exposed for several services coming from our ecosystem partners, and offering you cloud integration with existing software you may have running as part of your software labs. So here is a call to action that we will go over towards the end. Let me now shift to sharing the BlueMix offering with you as a live demo. Any questions so far? Okay, all right. Share the screen. All right, so you do see my screen?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I will log out so that I can show you from the beginning how to get more acquainted with BlueMix. So here you will see three important links. There's Docs, which is really written in a very clear, concise manner and leads you through knowing more about BlueMix all the way to creating applications, reading about services that are available, and this is a list that you can see of different services, all categorized. So it's very handy. You have tutorials here that you can go through, and they are short tutorials. You can manage your account and do any kind of troubleshooting, frequently asked questions database that you see under this troubleshooting heading. So it is really very intuitive and good link at your hands. Then I would like to talk about community. This link gives you access to ask questions at any point in time where you're stuck, and you will get a reply very quickly because it is being monitored round the clock. So just feel free to ask questions about any roadblocks or any thoughts that you would like to share and get feedback upon. Okay, so going back here, then you can log in. You need an IBM ID to log in. If you have not registered with BlueMix to get an IBM ID, please do so now. This is the beta version of BlueMix that we have on hands today. We are going to go GA very soon. So beta is a very good offering to lay your hands upon because it gives you 8 gigabytes of RAM and 20 services to use. As we go GA, we will have different models in place for usage that the academic initiative team will make you aware of. So those were the three important links at the beginning that I wanted to share. Then let me show you the catalog. These are certain boilerplates which are common use cases, and if you click on any one of them, let's say Java runtime plus database, you will see how quickly I can create an application and host it on BlueMix. So here we are offering WebSphere at your hands to use for coding Java applications. So these are the APIs all coming from WebSphere with its rich set of web container, EJB container, transactions, security, and so on. Then this talks to DB2 that you get from IBM. So this is an instance that can be instantiated and ready to go in seconds. So here, if I create an application, this is now being provisioned using VMs on SoftLayer, which is our infrastructure as a service. I can give a unique name to my application. Let's say Academia Java DB app. And by default, same name is used to host the application on the cloud. If I want, I can give it a different name. It's not necessary for both to be the same. ng.bluemix.net is the domain we are using today. The domain can be customized to what you would like for your school. So now it is provisioning a runtime for me along with the database instance. So it is being staged on a VM in SoftLayer, and here we have it all provisioned, and the only thing is that the application, which is just a starter template, is coming up at this point. So this is a detailed view for the application. It is using WebSphere Liberty for Java runtime. It is currently using 512 megabytes of RAM. It has this DB2 instance up and running, and if I go into it, I'll see further details about this instance. So it is like hosting any other DB2 instance on a desktop you may have sitting right next to you. It is exactly the same, and I can manage this database instance using this console. Let me prove my point further that this is no different from a physical setup of a database by showing you the environment variable, which is a very key piece of hosting software and applications on the cloud, called VCAP services. It gives you the name of the database, and it gives you the IP address where it is running, along with the port number, the admin user ID that you see here, the password for it, how to connect to it using the JDBC connection. So everything, the database instance name. So this is exactly like hosting the database on a desktop. Any questions? Okay, so if I go to the dashboard here, my application is up and running, so it did not take very long for it to be running. And going into, so it is here running, and if I click on this URL, it would just give me a basic output in terms of what environment variables are being used. The main point being here that I can extend this in any form or shape I like, and I will have an application that is ready to go. So here the application is running. It has a sample code added to it that allows me to add records. So if I click and say faculty demo, I can add that. Then I can add BlueMix. So these are just records. It is just to show you that records are being added to the database here. If I want, I can delete the record from DB2 instance, which is running. So you could see how powerful this platform is. Going back, I can show you the integration with our DevOps services if you're interested, or I can dive into MapReduce service related to big data. Any input?
I would be interested in seeing the integration with DevOps.
Okay.
Can just take a minute.
Sure. So here is the different spaces that are available to me, and let me go back to dashboard here. Okay, here I am. Okay, so this is adding Git integration. You may all be aware of using GitHub as a repository. So we can use that as a repository here and create it on the cloud. So this is what I'm referring as the development operation services that provides you an IDE on the cloud without having to install. And it is tied to my IBM ID, which you will have once you register for BlueMix. So I'm creating a Git repository on the cloud. for this particular application. So it is created within seconds. Here is my Git URL. I can go use this URL to go to my project directly, or I can go via this click of a button. So the project is being hosted. It has the name Academia MapReduce App. So all of this is happening, is being provisioned as we speak. So you have 3 buttons here: edit code, tracking and planning. If it's a big project that you have set up for your class, you can plan it with your students. So it can be tracked if it's like a 6-month project or a 2-month project. And then there is a tab to build and deploy to BlueMix directly from here. So an example could be that you set up a starter template for the students and then they extend it. How will they extend it? They can just fork for their copy for themselves. So I'll say my new project. I can make it private to me or to my group which may comprise of few students. It is creating my own copy, and then I can edit that and deploy it to BlueMix. So you can see the power here where everything is being provisioned for you as we go and at a very, very fast pace. So this is my new project. I can start editing the code here. Hello resource.java. I have it in an editor on the cloud. This is based on Orion open source editor. So I just wanted to showcase this to you. Any questions?
Thank you for showing that. And as a reminder, if you have a question, please press *6 to unmute your line if you're dialed in. Alternatively, you can use the chat.
Okay, so I could edit this code here, and then let's say I did edit, I can now deploy it to BlueMix. For deployment, I do need a manifest file, so I need to highlight that manifest file, which is nothing but giving the name of the application, the domain, where it should be deployed. So here's the manifest file. It gives me what services I'm using. I'm using MapReduce. I'm using SQLDB, which is DB2. This is the code I have for my RAM, and that is my application name, host name, what module am I deploying. So that is what is built from this source code, and what is my domain. So now I can deploy with a click of a button back into BlueMix. So this is an iterative process that the students can follow. And here it is deploying. Okay, so it may have problem in reading the source code at the moment, but that's just at this point in time. You can see the path for setting up your applications and in terms of deploying it back into BlueMix and running it. So let me take you back to using MapReduce service that will give you InfoSphere Big Insights Enterprise Edition software. Okay, so I will go back.
India, I wonder if I could ask a question as you're starting to transition over to MapReduce.
Sure.
Thank you. Hi, this is Bob Bree, IBM Academic Initiative. I think you showed a lot of good things there in terms of access to the cloud, the platform as a service, BlueMix, the creation of instances, and you really emphasized the fact that this was hosted and you're using an IDE that's hosted. What would be the alternative, and how long would it take to do something similar in nature if you were working with a bunch of local tools or a combination of local tools and other hosted or infrastructure as a service or platform as a service technologies. Can you give some perspective there and really how compelling that was and the amount of savings of time, consolidation of tools, et cetera?
Yes, definitely. Very good point. So I have been with IBM since December of '89, so almost 25 years, and I have gone through a cycle myself. And I worked in WebSphere, application server, business process management manager, and several other middleware software, and it takes days and months for us to host software pieces as well as integrate between them. And so this, to us internally, seems like a true blessing because I would not be able to learn so many pieces of technology as I have done with this catalog that I didn't scroll down. I just got into the boilerplate here, but it is just amazing what power is in our hands and how quickly we can leverage that and get up to speed. It is astronomical in terms of when I compare it from months to just minutes and seconds. So that's how I would put it briefly.
Thanks.
So, we are having here runtimes available to us for rapid development. There is Liberty, WebSphere Liberty for Java that is given to you as an API for developing your Java applications. When I say API, I'm talking about WebSphere Liberty. Of course, Java is there and you can write your Java apps. Here is Node.js, which is very common platform and runtime for doing JavaScript development, server side and client side. Then we have Ruby on Rails and Ruby on Sinatra. I can easily demo to you an application written with Ruby using the Sinatra framework in a day that we internally are using, and I shouldn't say internally, externally are using to collect feedback from all the different events we are hosting for BlueMix, hands-on workshop, hackathons, meetups. So we ourselves are able to do this development within a day. Enterprise level application is up and running, and it is running in my BlueMix environment, and I can share that with you if you like. And then, more importantly, you can bring your own runtime. So you may not see Python or PHP or some other, or even .NET, for example. You can bring that here. Just if you go to the Cloud Foundry set of build packs, which is another name for runtime, all of those are supported in BlueMix. So even a framework that you would say is that you may think is not compatible or may have a question like .NET, that entire framework can be brought into BlueMix just by binding to that build pack. So all you have to do is give a -B option on the command line that I can show you, and that simply brings the entire build pack that you need for your application. So you can run C++, C# applications if you like. I'm just giving the other extreme here. Then the scaling policy that I was talking to you about is here. Cloud integration, monitoring, rapid application development is for those who just want visual way of developing apps and do not want to code. Like your business school students may not want to code, they can use Rapid Apps service for visual application development. And then I was talking about web and application related services. They are like a huge set of rich services available to you. And if you click on any one of them, you will go into documentation here, and you can create and add it to an application. So it's with a click, you can get a service instantiated and added. It is that simple. Any questions? The students would like to have cool applications that are using MQ services, geolocation, Twilio, and on and on and on. So for mobile app, it's just mind-boggling how quickly I have developed Android applications using these security services, data services, and push services. So that's for mobile. Data management, different databases, Cloudant, JSON DB is available, DB2, our third-party software, MongoDB, which allows free format databases, MySQL along with PostgreSQL. So they are all available to you, and more will be coming. With big data, here is MapReduce that I want to talk about. So I can instantiate this right away. And but before that, let me just share the DevOps that I was talking about. So DevOps services, we saw a clear usage pattern there. You can also add mobile quality assurance for giving feedback in terms of what is the quality of the software. So this service allows that. Blaze meter and load impact allow your stress and performance analysis of applications that any student may be working on. Okay, so I'll go into MapReduce. I can instantiate it, except that I already have a instance of it. So let me just delete that. Okay, so I'm missing that. Okay, Academia, this is we just now created. Okay, so I don't have it here. Great. All right. No, here it is. So this one I will, here you see I had already instantiated Academia MapReduce app. It is connected to that. I will delete it. So it will be that quick. Just simply delete it. And it will be unprovisioned and removed from the VM that SoftLayer had provisioned for me under the covers. I wasn't aware of at all what it was doing, so had no worries about it. So we'll wait a second here. Any questions?
Sandia, this is Belinda Kennedy, IBM Academic Initiative Skills Leader and Architect in the Midwest. Will you talk about at some point the difference between your created environment showing up as an application versus showing up as a service? I know several faculty have asked what's the difference because it shows up in two different places.
Right. A good question. Thanks, Belinda. So this you see the two sections, and I do want to make sure that I delete the service. That was actually the application which I was deleting earlier. So this is a good segue. Application is what you are writing using a runtime that can be using the runtime hosted in BlueMix. So when I say create an application here, all of this is available to me, and along with the boilerplates. So I can use the boilerplates or the runtimes. So if I say Node.js runtime is what I want to use, it will say create app, and I will give it a name and go from there. So new app today, just to make it unique. So here I'm creating an application using a runtime. I can create an application using a common use case called boilerplate. Either way. So this application is not bound to any service at all. You have to add services to it. So it is right now coming up. So this is a new app today that I created, and it is at this moment not running, but it will be running. Here it is, up and running. So then I can just go into this application, and I can get into a repository using either IBM DevOps or even using Eclipse or any other IDE of your choice. But that is the starting point. Whereas if you go and create a service, you are here. Let me get back into the dashboard clearly. You are simply instantiating one of the services that we are offering to you. So if I click add a service, then it will take me to this catalog and say choose one that you want to add. So let's say I want to add MapReduce because that's what we are interested in. So it took me to the documentation here. So when I say I want to add a service, I can choose from any one that is available there in the catalog, and I can create and add it to an application. Or if I do not have an application ready, I will say do not associate. So it's my choice. I have all of these apps. I add this service that I'm instantiating to these, or I say leave it unbound here, or I say create an application now. So it's my choice. I'll just leave it unbound. And so it is just going to create the service for me. I can give it a meaningful name. Let's say BI Advanced Class or Course here. So this is creating a service. Belinda, does that address the question?
Yes, it does. I'm sorry, I was back on mute. It does. I think that's a key point to differentiate for people because it shows up in two places, under the application part of the dashboard as well as under the service part. So thank you. And I think it's good to go into here's how you can create MapReduce app right out of the gate.
Yeah. So now the service is in good health. What I created just now, it's in good health, as you could see at the top. And I will get into the service. Here it is. That you see how quickly I would have spent days installing Big Insights and then getting to learn about it, how to use. It would have been a matter of days and weeks. But here it is instantiated and ready for me to use within a minute or two. So this is the MapReduce service. It gives me access to the Big Insights console. This is the username, the admin user, and the password for it. It gives me the URL for using HTTPFS. It is at the moment valid for 14 days, and I can extend the validity of the service. So I'll launch the Big Insights Enterprise Edition console. And we will share with you the document that talks about different paths you can take using Big Insights Enterprise Edition. So here is the welcome page for it. Goes over the tasks that are possible on the Big Insights Edition that is running. We could run an application. We could explore and update data using the sheets. We could deploy a new application or remove an existing one, add nodes and services here, and manage our alerts. Then we also have quick links. One of them I'll show to you, which is interesting, running big SQL queries. You can download client libraries here. You can also link this Big Insights server, which is running here, with your Eclipse IDE to develop further Big Insights applications. And then we have several demos as well as Info Center for Big Insights and streams, also forums where you can post your questions, our support page for Big Insights, and then you can leverage big data on the web that is available. It has been generated by IBM to play with, to experiment with while you are developing your applications. So that's just the different links. If I get into the cluster status, because already a Hadoop distributed file system is up and running on a 7-node cluster, so we have these services that are running and in good health. Any questions on these services? Please feel free to ask. They are on these hosts, which are in software, but not known to us, but they are available for us to access. So you can see that different services are there on different hosts. Then we can get into files. This is our distributed file system. You see Big Insights, Hadoop, Big Insights with the different services running here, Hadoop with MapReduce service in it, and then you have user with my user ID, and I can play with the file system that is under my user ID in terms of adding data, converting that into Excel spreadsheet in different formats. So let's say that I want to use the different operations available to me. Here is copying the files, moving them around, creating new directories. So let me create a directory, my big data. So that will go under my user ID. Okay, it didn't expand. So here is my big data directory, and I can then under this import. I can import essentially, which is uploading. So let me browse. Let me get into labs in here to get to my data. Okay, so there is some sample data. Let's say blogs data here. I will upload it into the Hadoop distributed file system under this directory, and that is now uploaded. So you see blogs data.txt file, and I can view that in a text format or as a sheet. So it is displaying in a tabular manner. It's a lot of data that has been collected on our IBM Watson Analytics service. I can click on Fit Columns to view it, view all of it. I can save this as a workbook. Let's say new underscore blogs data workbook. Okay. Saving it as a workbook, I can run different operations on it. I can form a union with another workbook. It's all up to what students would like to do with the data. Okay. So it built the workbook for me. This is just, I can add a chart to it if I want to. Different kinds of charts are available, like area chart, bar chart, and so on. So that is possible. I can export this data as a comma separated or tab separated or JSON array. It's all how I would like to see it. Let's say tab separated as a file, and I can give it a file path. So let's just browse for that. So this is my user ID under my big data. Under my big data, I can give it a different name. Let's say I call it blogs-data, and it will append TSV as the suffix. Okay, and you would see that exported successfully. And if I go under files, I would see that particular tab separated value. So expanding it. Any questions? Any operations that you would like to see? Here's what I saved, so I can view it. Okay, as a sheet or text, whichever way we want to. Okay, so applications, of course, as we were talking about earlier, can be deployed to big insights, and we can also monitor their status. Okay, so it is available, and I can do various operations on it. I can have a different reader put on it, JSON array. So now let's do fit columns here so that it is. So this is a JSON array format for reading. So different operations. Then we can also download if we wanted to. If we did an upload, we could also download this data and save it to our file system or elsewhere that you would like to. So I can do that here. I can delete those files that I have created. I can delete it. So and then I can set permissions also. So it's in our hands to set appropriate permissions. Like this is my text file. I can set permissions on it. I can change the owner or set permissions, like give others read write. And I can change the permissions recursively, though this is only a single file. Okay, so that's the different operations that we can perform here. If we get into applications right now, there is...
Cynthia, would you cover accessing relational databases? I think you've covered that on some other calls, and I know we have some faculty who have a lot of data. While you've gone through the blogs for unstructured, that's good. How about relational database access?
Yeah. So, if we have data that is coming from a relational database, we can import it here. So, at this point, do I have anything in my file system that is relational? So yeah, I have this RDBMS data here. I can import it, and I can run queries on it as much as I want to run, and in whatever format I want to then save the queries, it's up to me. So here is the relational database. This is the data I had, and I can of course display it in different formats. I can also save it, export it. So essentially play with it as we want to.
Thank you.
Here's this format, and yeah, put a different reader on it so that it is as a Hive reader, if we are more into using Hive queries. So you have a lot of flexibility with you to be able to operate this data. Okay. So next, that would be really interesting would be looking at Big Sheets tab. This enables us to run big SQL queries and display the output. So it is going back to Big Insights server and trying to display. Okay. That's just my browser. Okay, while it is going there, let me show you another way. I'll say, don't ask me. Another path that you can use to do big SQL queries, it's right here under Quick Links. So just keeping in mind that this is a beta offering, so a lot of work is going on as we speak on this offering to get ready for GA. So any SQL query I can run right here. So let's say, unless you have some query that you would like me to run, I can type in one that I was playing with. So you know that we have our big MapReduce running here, and I had talked about the VCAP services variable. So I can get to it again just to illustrate how to run queries. So here we are. Okay. That's our instance. And okay, I want to just see okay, it just takes me back to the launching the console. I just want to see the runtime and show you one more time what the VCAP services variable looks like. Do you all remember that? Or should I be? Okay. So it takes me to I just want to see the runtime. View service in. So since I did not tie the service to a runtime, it is not showing me the VCAP services variable right here. But I was looking at it when I had it tied to the runtime. So the VCAP services has all my different URLs and username and password, as I was showing you earlier when it was tied to an app. I can quickly tie this to an app though, if I wanted to. So more importantly, since we are running out of time here, as we were running, I have this big SQL query here. So I can simply say create a table, and let's say if not exists, so that is safer. Let's call it some DB. This will be the database name that is there in the VCAP services environment variable. So I will just use the user ID I had earlier. So 0J, or rather, why use what I had earlier? If you see right here, the MapReduce instance, and it gives you the user ID. So essentially, I can get to it just by looking at my username there. That's what my VCAP services environment variable has. So it has this user ID right here. So if I get back into DB, and this is my user ID. So DB and followed by the user ID is the database name. Colon, I had my blogs dash data, so that I want to create if it is not existing already, and I would give it the various column names. Let's say country, which is of this format, comma, feed info, let's say 300, and that's it. These two columns I wanted to create. Row format, delimited, fields, terminated by tabs. So, any questions? So I can execute this, and if all of this is correct, then it will run, or if there's an issue, then it will flag it. So yeah, it says okay, something table not exists. So there is an unexpected token there. So anyway, the point being, you can run your queries here, and you can also run Hive queries if you want to run those. So any SQL query, any Hive queries that you want to execute can just be executed here. So I think it's top of the hour now. Jennifer, Valinda, are there any other areas?
Thank you, Cynthia. That was wonderful.
No other areas, but any questions again from our faculty members?
So while we have you, I'll just also tie this to an application or create an application as we were talking about.
Anyone wanting to ask a question, don't forget to press *6 to unmute your line.
So this is, while I have everybody here, this is another quick way. We had the service instantiated for MapReduce, and I will say new MapReduce app. Okay, that name is already, there is a space in there. New MapReduce app, okay, and this is, okay. Just want to show you one quick point here. I had instantiated the service, used it. Now, after few days, I want to write an app and connect to that service. I can do so. So, and then when I go from my service, I'll be able to view my VCAP services environment variable. Go ahead, Jennifer.
Okay, Cynthia, thank you very much for doing this demo for us today and giving us the overview of BlueMix. It's been very educational. I hope it was also useful for our relationship managers and the faculty that were on the line. Cynthia, could you put up the PowerPoint, the call to action for me?
Sure. Okay, so
we'll also be posting this replay, and which will include all the slides on the Knowledge Exchange. You can go there in the next 24 to 48 hours, and we'll post it in the Academic Initiative Knowledge Exchange. And Cindy, I believe you're also going to be posting the lab notes for your demo for anyone who would like to sign on to BlueMix, get yourself an account, and run through the demo yourself. So our call to action today would be for the relationship managers. Please share this replay to all your faculty who are interested in BlueMix. For the faculty that's on the line, sign up for the BlueMix beta if you haven't done so already. There's also a 200 BlueMix Days event worldwide. The link there will give you the calendar of those events. And then please leverage the course material on the IBM Academic Initiative website. So thank you, Cynthia. Are there any more questions at this time?
Yeah, any questions, please feel free to email me. I would be really, really excited to work with you.
Okay, if there's no more questions, then we can close the call at this time. Thank you, Cynthia, and thank you all for attending.
Thanks.